I get a lot of messages from players asking questions like, what's the difference between a tone model and a preset? Or why doesn't my tone model have effects when I download it from ToneNet? Or maybe even, why does the tone model, which I was told was an amp only or DI tone model, have an IR baked into it? I thought this wasn't supposed to have a speaker cab of any sort. So today I'm going to take you through the entire journey of a tone model, from the moment it finishes training to how it becomes a preset, how you can share it, and how others can use it. So let's start at the moment of creation. Let's say I have trained a tone model. Now, a lot of folks aren't going to bother with this step because they don't make tone models. But somebody like myself who makes tone models, shares and makes these available to others, I have to have a workflow that's going to allow me to share these. So we're going to start here at the point of creation, and then we'll talk about all the ways that they can be shared and all the little idiosyncrasies that are really important. So we start here inside of the Tone Modeler app, and I'm not going to take you through obviously the whole process of capturing it, but I do have two completed tone models. They've been trained. You can see here the little check mark, and they're ready to be finalized. So this is the point where the tone model creator is going to finalize these so that they are going to enter into our ToneX tone model library. And you'll notice I have ToneX app open here. And if I come to my tone model tab, remember we have a preset tab and a tone model tab. If I come to my tone model tab and I hit date added so I get my newest ones up at the top, go all the way to the top, you'll notice that I have a whole set of tone models here, but I do not have any of these Plex King tone models that I'm showing right here. Now, a little side point is this is a new collection I've added to my website, which is based off of the incredible Tone King Royalist Mark III amplifier. These are called my JS Plex King Ultimate and DI collections. I'll have the links below to those if you're so inclined and want to take a look at them. And you'll get to hear a little bit of them out of the mix later on in this video. And I'll play you a full demo of them used in the mix also. So I have two here. I have an amp cab capture, and you can see here it says guitar amp cab. And I also have a guitar amp only or DI capture. So we're going to finalize these, and you'll notice that then they will come and they will show up over here in my ToneX library, which they at present aren't because they haven't been finalized. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to highlight whichever one I want to finalize. I'm going to hit finalize. Now I can go through here and audition it first, but I already know that these are going to work. I've picked my skin here. I have my name of my tone model, and everything looks good. The amp is based on the Tone King Royalist Mark III. I'm going to finalize that. Okay, so basically now if we come back over to our ToneX app and come right up here at the top, you're going to see that we have JS Plex King 6410 V2, which is just what I put into my tone library. So let's head back over to the Modeler tab, and we're going to do our DI one here. We'll finalize this. Again, I'm just going to skip through this quickly, and you'll notice here we don't have any cab because this is an amp only capture. I'm going to hit finalize and main view. At this point, my training queue is empty. I can exit out of the Guitar Modeler software. So now I have my captures right here. Plex King 6410 V2, Plex King DI 6410 V2. Now, what's very interesting here is you'll notice again, I am on my tone model tab. These have entered into my ToneX library as tone models. Now, if I come over to my preset library, hit the date modified tab and move all the way up to the top, you'll notice that those do not exist anywhere as an actual preset because I haven't created a preset with them. So this is the big difference everybody needs to understand is there's a very, very big difference between a tone model and a preset. A tone model is as this has been captured, it comes in as a raw tone model. You'll notice up here, the DI tone model has no cab with it, as it shouldn't. It has nothing on the noise gate, compression, modulation, delay, reverb. If we go to our advanced parameters, everything is just up the center. Gain is at 5, bass is at 5, mid, treble at 5, volume at 5, presence at 5, depth at 5. That means that this is how it was captured. Any change we make from this down to 0 or to plus 10 is going to be moving from that starting point of how it was captured. But this is the raw tone model. If I go to the amp cab capture, you'll notice that the cab is baked into this. So it is ready to go. Whereas the DI, we're going to have to add some sort of cab to it, whether it be a VIR or a cab from a different tone model or a custom IR. We'll talk about that in a second. So basically, if we were to take this particular tone model as is and take a listen to it, it would sound like this. So really nice stuff, but it's very bone dry. Doesn't have any reverb, compression, modulation, delay, noise gate, nothing really. There's no tweaks to it. But that's the way that these always come out once they're born into the world of being a tone model. Now, if I head on down to the DI version, not something we're going to want to listen to. We haven't added a cab to it yet. So I can come down here and I can say, let's add a custom IR. And I'm going to add my JS Fathead Double Cream IR to it. Now that we've added this in here, sounds much better. Now, there's an extremely important point to make at this moment. This has not changed this tone model into an amp cab tone model where the cab is baked into it. It still remains just a raw DI amp only tone model, but we've added an IR to it. Now I can lock that so it doesn't change or move when I switch to other tone models. But for now, this is remaining a DI amp only tone model, but we have added a custom IR to it. It's really going to depend on how you use this. If you're sending this out to an external power amp into a real guitar cab, we're just going to want this disabled. Where there's no tone model, we just shut it off. There we go. We've shut it off. We're back to having just the DI amp only. And you'll notice when I navigate away from that and back to it, because I didn't save anything, we basically just go back to our raw tone model. And that change we made to the tone model of adding an IR is gone. So again, to recap, these have entered into my ToneX world as tone models. They are not presets. So you might ask, well, what is a preset? Why would we have it? What are we going to use it for? Well, a very good example is just the example I used with the Plex King DI. We might have this and find, well, this is useless right now. It sounds terrible. I do want some sort of speaker cab on it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to re-add that custom IR that I liked so much. Now, I could take that and say, I'm very happy with it this way. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit this little button right here next to this preset window. I'm going to click that and I am going to call this JS Plex King DI with cab, just for lack of a better name. And, I can come in here and set the characteristics of this, say it's, want to be used with a solid body. I could put whatever notes in there. I could put an artist. You don't have to put this, but I can put that in there. So let's save that now as a preset. All right, so we're still in our tone model tab here. So I can come over here and I can navigate back out. And you'll notice that when I come back to this, the cab disappears again. This is where a lot of people get confused. They go, wait a second, I just saved this as a preset, and now I come back to it when I navigate away from it, and that change is gone. Well, sure, because we're still in the tone model tab. There's nothing we can do to alter these tone models. They are what they are. We can come in here to edit them, but all we can edit is the name, the amp it's based off of, the characteristic of it, the channel, so just the metadata basically, but we can't actually change any of the way this was captured. So you might ask, well, where did this thing that I just saved go? Where's this preset? Well, I come to my preset tab. Now, when I come to the top here, when I have it as date modified as the newest at the top, you'll notice that I have my preset here. And you'll notice that what this has become is that same Plex King DI capture we had, but now over here with the preset, it has the IR that I selected baked in, but only at the preset level. So when I advertise a set of DI tone models, I'll oftentimes say that I have a custom IR baked in at the preset level. And that's what this means. It doesn't mean that the raw tone model has actually been changed. I can still go back here to the raw tone model when I'm on the tone model tab, and it's going to show me all my raw tone models as they were captured, right? So I have it here, it's empty still. But if I come to my preset that I've saved it with cab, I will always come back and have that cab with it. I could also come in here and say, I'd also like to add some reverb to this. So let's take a room reverb, maybe with these settings here, and maybe I want to save it with a little bit of delay, and I'm a big fan of the tape delay. Synced, there we go. I'm going to bring the compressor in just to maybe give us a little bit here in post, a little more volume out of this. So we'll set that there. And maybe I want a noise gate on it, and I'm going to bring that in like such, and we'll move that to those settings. Now, If I navigate away from this without saving, those changes are all going to go away. But what I'll do is just come up here and I'll say, I'm going to save this again. It's going to say, do you want to overwrite this? And I'll say, yeah, sure, I'll overwrite this. Now, when I navigate away from that particular tone model and come back to it, you'll notice all my settings are saved. I could even come to advanced settings and, turn the gain down. If I wanted to save that, I could also save that. And then when I navigate away, you'll notice that that gain setting is saved. I could also come back and just revert that back to where it was. And so I can save all of these settings. But now if I come back to the tone model tab, you might say, well, all the settings are still there. Yes, let's reset this. Okay, I hit the reset button. You'll notice everything goes back to the way it was on the tone model. So we haven't altered the tone model, but we can always head back over to our preset, select it again, and we'll see it here with all the changes that we had saved. And it's going to sound like this now. And we've got a beautiful little preset, but it has not altered our tone model. So if we have a DI amp only capture that has a custom IR baked in at the preset level only, that's what that means. But we still can just, do one of two things. We can shut the IR off if we want. Now we've basically got the raw tone model. It's going to sound bad because there's no cab on it, but we have it with all our other preset settings. Or we can simply come back to our tone model here, reset it, and we have our raw unaffected tone model. Now we can do a similar thing with the amp cab captures also. We could come over here and we automatically start with a cab. So we have something that we like a little bit better maybe right away, but I can make the similar changes to this as well. I can come in here and add maybe the noise gate to it, add a little compression to it, just to get a little bit more volume out of this, come in and add a similar kind of thing on the delay, and maybe come in here and add just a dab of reverb to some settings that you like. Now I can come in here, I can hit the save button to save this as a preset, because we know if we don't, it will just revert back to the raw tone model again. Now I want to make sure that I don't just overwrite my DI one, but let's say that I call this one Plex King with FX, and we'll save that. Now when we come over to our preset tab, you'll notice that I have this one in here as well. So I have my original DI tone model with our IR baked in. And I have my amp cab capture here. And it works beautifully. But again, I can come back to my tone model. I can hit this reset button here, and I end up getting right back to the raw tone models just as they were captured, even though I still have presets of both of those with the changes I have. So now you might ask, well, how do we share these? Well, there's a couple of ways. We could just upload these to ToneNet, correct? So we could hit our little ToneNet button to connect to ToneNet, and we can come back out of ToneNet, come back to our tone model tab, and you'll notice I have a little upload button here. Now, if I click this, it's going to give me the ability to set what I would like to be able to upload these to ToneNet so that other folks could download it. But keep in mind, that is only going to upload the tone model, the raw tone model. It's not going to have any of the effects. You're going to get a raw tone model that when you download from ToneNet will show up under your tone model tab, and then you would have to follow a similar path like I did to tweak it however you want and then save it as a preset so it shows up over in your preset list. Now, as somebody who provides a lot of third-party tone models to customers, I have to have a way to share these outside of ToneNet as well. I do share a lot on ToneNet, and I do have my collections up under the Tone Partner program in partnership with IK Multimedia. But if I wanted to share these outside of ToneNet for people to download from my website, I cannot share a raw tone model. So what I have to do is create a preset, much like I did here, and then I have to export that. So you'll notice this little button right here when I click this, it will allow me to choose a folder to save that into. So I could click this and I can say open. And if I navigate over to that folder, you'll notice that now I have my JS Plex King with effects .txp. This is the file I would have to share with somebody if I wanted to give them this. Now, what's going to happen and where the confusion is, and a question I get a lot, and I say that, I have this DI amp only capture, but it has an IR baked in at the preset level only. That means when you import this, and the way you would import it is simply to take this here and drag and drop it into ToneX software. Now, that already exists in mine, but here's an interesting thing now. Let's say that I actually come and delete this particular preset and delete that particular tone model. It will no longer be in my library. Well, because I already exported it, I can simply take this, drag it back in, and you'll notice, guess what? I got that back, and I also have the preset back exactly as I saved it. So once I've exported it, it's a great way to either back it up, but I can also share this with others. So you'll notice I just dragged it back in. So a lot of folks ask, well, the DI capture has this IR on it. Well, I always save it with an IR because it's going to sound terrible without. It doesn't mean that somebody can't swap this out. Once they drag this into their ToneX library, they can simply select it, come over to their tone model tab, and then also hit your reset button here, navigate away, come back, and you're going to notice that that particular tone model still does not have a cam on it. So there's nothing baked into the tone model. It's only happening at the preset level. So I think that that covers everything that I wanted to talk about. So remember, the tone model is the DNA, the actual amp and cab capture or DI amp only capture. The preset is how you choose to use that DNA. You can tweak it, save it, share it, or completely rebuild it. But the tone model always remains the same. So I hope that that was helpful. Sorry I went a long time with that, but so many questions keep coming up about this that I really wanted to put a video together that made it very clear as to how this all works so that I can point people to this when I get those questions. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the tones you heard, and I hope that that was helpful. I'm going to leave you today with the full-blown demo video where you're going to get to hear the full collection of these Plex King amp cab tone models used together in a mix. I really love this amp and these tone models. If you're so inclined, the links are below if you want to grab a copy. You can also check out ToneNet's Tone Partners to find a whole slew of collections that I have available that you can get there and also at my website. Go check those out if you're so inclined. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys so much for sharing your time with me, and enjoy the music on the way out. Ciao for now.